Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. Holiday season's coming up, and I want to give some suggestions as to some cool graphic novel, trade paperback gifts, comics that you can give fans out there in your life, people who maybe want to get into comics, or people who are already into comics and you want to get them something neat. So I've got a pile in front of me, pretty thick pile with a whole bunch of different genres, different types of books, and being somewhat intelligent, I'm going to go through from youngest to oldest of what I think covers the gamut. And there's a lot of things for the adults, so that's towards the bottom. So for the young set, I believe I recommended this last year, is Secret Coders. This is the second volume of the series. This is Secret Coders, Path and Portals. Written by Gene Luen Yang with art by Mike Holmes. Now, the thing that I really, really love about Secret Coders is it's not just an entertaining story about some kids in a high school and mystery that's going on. The graphic novel actually is also supposed to teach coding, computer coding to kids. Really explains things super well. Gene Luen Yang is a high school teacher, so he's very familiar with this. He's an award-winning writer, just accolades thrown down on him, so the guy knows what he's talking about. I absolutely love it. No, I work with computers during the day in the tech area, and I still learn stuff while reading this first and second volume. So the second volume's out from first to second. Third volume, I believe, will be out next year at some point. Absolutely fantastic. It gives you, there's like some projects kids can work on. It has kids want to go like step away from the book and try to show off what they've learned. Can't recommend it enough. I think it's beyond fantastic. All right, so we got Last Man, The Rescue. Haven't talked much about this series, but I really probably should. So this is the 6th volume in it, so there's obviously 5 in front of it. Last Man, how do I even describe it? It's kind of this fantasy mixed with this hyper weird reality, and basically the volumes start off in this fantasy world with this mixed martial art tournament that has all kinds of crazy magic in it, like people can like shoot wind out of their hands and shake things down. Really, really cool volumes. Loved it. First 2 volumes are so badass. The rest of them are just as badass and get even crazier. So it moves from that fantasy world into the modern world, and it has to deal with like kind of this MMA mixed sports thing with drug dealers and people trying to find this fantasy world. Awesome series. If it's not a movie or a television series or animated series at some point, I'm going to be absolutely shocked. It's from Balak, who's French animator, Michael Sanlaville, who's a video game creator, and Bastien Vives, who also does French comics. So obviously a French comics put out by First Second. Can't speak highly of it enough. Absolutely love it. I'm hoping for more and more and more because I just think it's that cool. Sixth volume isn't the one to start with. You're definitely going to want to go back and get the first volume. But if you can't, anywhere is probably pretty enjoyable. And if you start, after the first one, you're going to want to go back and get the earlier ones. Just start with the first one. It's the 6th one. It came out a couple months ago. It's beyond fantastic. I absolutely love it. All right, third up from First Second. If you notice a pattern we got going here, a solid production from First Second this year. They put out some of the best graphic novels. This is the story of Tetris by Box Browns. Games people play. I know you're probably laughing and going, what the hell? How can someone do a graphic novel about Tetris? Well, Box Brown pulls it off. It's beyond fantastic. Really, really great read. It really does run you through the history of Tetris. Secret Coders for little kids. Last Man is probably for like early tweens, late single digits. This is definitely for teens, I think, who might enjoy it. Definitely adults who grew up playing Tetris, who've got some nostalgia. If you got a kid that likes comic books and video games, they'll probably enjoy this. It really runs through a lot, and there was a lot of like there was some political maneuvering, but a lot of lawsuits and stuff like that. So it got crazy, and it's really, really good. Box Brown was able to take all that and make it pretty understandable and a great read. So I recommend it. I think it's well worth checking out. And I have an interview with Box Brown coming up, hopefully fairly soon, on the site, graphicpolicy.com. All right, next up we got Sheriff of Babylon, one of my favorite series of the year. Absolutely fantastic. So this came out from Vertigo. It's by Tom King and Mitch Gerards. So it's inspired by Tom King's real-life experiences working for the CIA over in Iraq. The story, this is Volume 1, which collects issues 1 through 6. It's a 12-issue series, so you're definitely going to want to get the second volume once it comes out. I can't even describe it. It's basically a murder mystery in the Green Zone. The thing that's really fantastic is this is not too far after the fall of Saddam, taking place in the Green Zone, and it's brutally honest from someone who was there. So it is a slice of real life, but obviously you can't go into tons of detail. It's $14.99. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best series of the year, absolutely, and there's a second volume coming out. Speaking of slice of real life, so this is Dark Knight, a true story. The story of Paul Dini, who was one of the people behind Batman the Animated Series, Tiny Toon Adventures. Dini was attacked. Whoops, we'll just lay that down. Was attacked and injured, and this is his story with art by Eduardo Rizzo about him coming back from that. So he was mugged, attacked, and just several broken bones, shattered face, and this is about his recovery process. It's brutally honest. He gives a warts and all story about himself. He really just kind of lays it out there about his experience and who he is as a person. It's $22.99. Definitely for mature readers, also from Vertigo. Can't recommend it enough. I think it's absolutely fantastic read. It's just brutally honest. And, for adults who maybe don't want some kind of behind-the-scenes history of Batman the Animated Series, that's in there. Maybe someone who's kind of dealing with recovery as well and wants an inspirational story, that this could possibly be good as well. Just one of the most brutally honest graphic novels of the year. Absolutely amazing, and definitely takes you through and shows you that graphic novels can be used in a totally different way. Maxi series, one of my favorites of the last few years. So this is the Omega Man, also by Tom King. He also did Sheriff of Babylon. So it's Tom King, and then also Barnaby Bajenda. Let's show off some of the art. The art is awesome. It's just really solid stuff. Omega Man it was an interesting series. It was a 12-volume series that basically dealt with terrorists. First, they kidnap Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern. They behead him on TV, and then they just go all crazy in the Vega system, trying to overthrow the powerful, tyrannical folks that are in charge. So this is really a story about terrorism, and there's absolute parallels with ISIS and the United States and what's going on in the world, and it's meant to be like that. So if you want to see graphic novels and comics being used as a reflection of the real world, this is a fantastic example. On the back, there is some art in the back of it, some sketches going over things. Overall, fantastic series. It's one that I have read multiple times at this point. I get to the end, and I'm still contemplating what the ending actually means. And at some point, hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to Tom King about that, because I have questions. You won't be left, confused or anything like that. It's just open for interpretation, I think. Absolutely fantastic, though. It's basically a space, nuanced political thriller is the best way of putting it, describing it. All right, finally, this is one for the man-child in your life. This is Fight Club 2. Chuck Pahalnik, if I pronounced that name right, and Cameron Stewart did this. It is a hardback graphic novel collecting the series from Dark Horse. It is a sequel to the book and movie Fight Club, written by the actual writer of the book. Basically, Tyler Durden is back and has a resurgence in there. It is as fantastic as you would expect. Excellent, fantastic, clever. It's everything you would expect from something from Chuck Palahniuk and having to do with Fight Club. Best way of describing it. So if you got someone who is a fan of Fight Club, this is kind of a no-brainer. Obviously, beautifully put together, really solid book, well designed, and things that I really enjoy with some of the done with the art. You can see the pill kind of jumping off and breaking the panels there. That's done. That type of stuff is done throughout the series and the comic. and I think it's done really, really well. It's neat. It's definitely what I would expect with this writer in this series, which is pretty damn cool. I think that's a solid thing. I'm trying to find other examples of that. And it's not overdone, but it adds so much. There we go. So we got a bunch of pills kind of filling the pages somewhat. It's a cool concept. It's neat. It's not something you normally see in comics. So I say, if you're a fan of Fight Club, I loved the film. Fantastic story. Definitely gets one to think. This is $29.99. It's a collection of the Maxi series comic. Nice, easy read. So definitely, if you got someone who is a Fight Club fan in your life, can't recommend this one enough. So you said we kind of got a going through the ages from young to, well, we pretty much skip the later teens and go straight to the adults. For kids, you got Secret Coders. Really think it's fantastic. For maybe the little bit older kids and younger teens, Last Man, Tetris, maybe for the older teens. Then you can get in stuff with the adults like Omega Man, Sheriff of Babylon, Dark Knight, True Batman Story, and Fight Club 2. Running across from a couple different publishers, we've got Vertigo, First Second, and Dark Horse, who all provided these to review for our site. So thank you very much for that, as always. So until next time, if you're into comic books, you can check us out at graphicpolicy.com. Of course, we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky.